Okay, greeting and welcome back to your Dr. DIY's channel. So in today's video, we are going to show you how to replace the wheel belt on a Hyundai Ioniq HEV Plus year 2018 and how to carry out the bleeding works for the brake system. Okay, so stay tuned and enjoy the video. So for the purpose of changing the wheel belt, this is the wheel belt number. Okay, so this is genuine for Hyundai, and for the purpose of doing the bleeding works, I have purchased two bleeding kits. Okay, basically they do the same thing, but we just want to see which is more convenient. So basically you loosen up the nipple, which I will show you later. You plug this guy to the nipple and you plug it into the compressor and you just press here. It will suck the brake fluid to the container, and this is where the excess air comes out. Similar working operation, is just that instead of having the handle here, this guy we are using a valve opener. Okay, so this is a valve opener. This can be purchased online. I will put the link in the description below. And for Hyundai Ioniq, this is the brake fluid use .4 from Bendix. Okay, so they are using this brake fluid. Okay, so first things first is we need to locate the reservoir for the brake fluid. So for Hyundai Ioniq, it is located at your right hand side if you are facing towards the engine. So it is located at your right hand side, right? However, you need to locate the master pump. Okay, so the master pump is basically on the left hand side. Okay, so this is the master pump. As you can see, all the steel pipe, yes. Okay, and they are labeling on the inlet of each of the steel pipe. Okay, for example, the first steel pipe, it is not clear in the video, so I will just read to you. I'll just point. So the labeling for the first steel pipe is FR, indicating front right. Okay, the second is indicating RL, that means rear left, followed by rear right and front left. Okay, so knowing that info, we need to now note which is the longest pipe. Okay, longest pipe to the wheel. Okay, so of course it's going to be the rear. If you are looking this way, it's going to be the rear right. Okay, which is the back tire here. So this is the longest pipe, okay, which is connected to the master pump. Hence, the bleeding works should be started with this wheel assembly first. So this is the longest pipe. The second longest pipe, obviously it will be the other side, which is going to be the rear left. Okay, so this will be the rear left. So this will be number 2 of the bleeding works. Following with that, the third longest obviously is going to be the right front, RF, right front, and this is going to be the right left, RL. Okay, so this will be the last wheel. So that will be the sequence. So I repeat again. In order to do the brake bleeding works, we need to note the longest pipe which is connected from the master pump to the wheel assembly. So for this case, we locate the master pump is here. So obviously the longest pipe is going to be to the back right wheel, right? Followed by the back left wheel, front right wheel, and the front left wheel. Okay, so this is an example of Hyundai Ioniq. If your master pump is located here, Okay, in other vehicles, sometimes the master pump is together with the reservoir. Okay, so obviously the longest is going to be left rear. Okay, at the left rear, and vice versa. So without further ado, now let's lift the car up, okay, and secure it with the triangle brackets. So the two rear wheels are lifted up. The next thing is you want to let go your foot parking brake, because currently there is pressure inside the brake pipe. Okay, so now we want to loosen up the nipple and attach the bleeding kit to the nipple. Also bear in mind to always monitor the content in this reservoir. It should be always full. Okay, so make sure this brake fluid doesn't get any part of the engine or anywhere to the car, okay, because it is very corrosive. So if there are few drops, or if you happen to accidentally touch or get it to the car, just rinse it off with water, because this brake fluid, it is fully soluble in water. This is the back tire. Okay, the nipple is located here. This is the nipple. Alright, it is covered with a stock rubber cap. So we need not to open the wheel to remove the wheel, okay, because we have lifted up the car, so we can do it easily from the back of the car, right? So you just open up this black rubber enclosure. This is how you look like, okay, and the size of the nipple is size 10 mm. We attach this guy from the bleeding kit container to the nipple, and the bleeding kit is connected to the air compressor. So when we press, it will create a vacuum in this container, so it will force the brake fluid to come out and to go into this container. Okay, so to make sure the bleeding is complete or the bleeding is effective, there should not be any bubbles present in the tube when the bleeding is done. If there is bubbles, meaning which the system has air inside and you have to remove the air, so you keep doing the bleeding works until there is no bubbles. So in this case, I have attached the bleeding L bracket to the nipple before loosening up the nut. Okay, the nut is loosened up, you can see. It's coming out. Okay, so you keep doing. At the same time, we need to monitor the reservoir. Let's have a look at the brake level, brake fluid level. So it's okay, it's still up. So we do this until there is no longer bubbles present in the system, in the brake pipe. So you can see we don't want bubbles. So I've adjusted the air pressure to a very minimum level, so it's sucking out very minimum amount of brake fluid, because if the air pressure is high, it will go to turbulence. You will see a lot of bubbles. For example, look at the bubbles. So I'm making it now slow. Okay, these are the bubbles. We don't want the bubbles. Okay, so there are bubbles. We wait until the bubbles stop. You can see there's no more bubbles. So I've switched to a different bleeding kit. I've switched to this guy because I can adjust the air pressure compared to that guy. Okay, I need both hands basically to adjust the pressure, and it's not constant. Okay, so I feel this is much more convenience because I just open a very little amount of air pressure so the bleeding can be controlled. I'm increasing the pressure so you can see the bubbles keep coming out. Okay, one thing is because the valve here is loose. Okay, so air is going through here, so you got to control that. You cannot open too much, right? You cannot open too much, you got to open very little. Okay, so let's wait for the bubbles to come out until we can stop from this part. Okay, let's move this and see if there's any more air bubbles. No, I think we are good to go. Tighten up this guy. Remember, do not off your air pressure while tightening up, okay, because air might go in, and then we can off the air pressure. So this is the amount of brake fluid came out, plus a little bit more inside here because we first used this. Then we just take out the latch here. Okay, of course there will be some spills. Remember, all these spills on your vehicle to be rinsed with water immediately because it can cause corrosion, okay, especially to metal parts. Okay, it can also cause the paint to come out if it's not been removed. So moving to the next tire, it is always good to measure how much of brake fluid have been taken out for the first tire, right? So we got this measuring cup here. Okay, so we are just going to pour it in. So roughly it is at 50 ml. Okay, so per tire it could be 50 to 100 ml of bleeding, okay, depending on the amount of air coming out, right? So for the rear left, roughly we took out about 25 milliliter of brake fluid because there was not much of an air bubbles. Okay, so for the front bleeding works, the tire need not to be removed. For the front right, okay, we just turn the tire full turn to the left, and the bleeding valve is right here. So for the last tire, front left, so we full turn the steering wheel to the right, correct? So after that, the nipple is just about the same thing here. Okay, to change the wheel belt, right, there are two tensioners that we need to deal with. Okay, so the first one is on top, is rather quite easy. This is size 14. Okay, so get yourself a solid metal pin, so that it can enter into this hole here. You can see that hole there. Yes. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to push this counterclockwise until the both holes align, and then we're going to lock them up by means of this bar. From my observation, you can see, yep, the size 17, right, is right here. So it's better to remove this fender, and also if there's no space, it's recommended to move the tire. Let's see. So we remove this fender, just simply undo all the buttons here, these buttons. Okay, so we have removed the fender, right? So now we got good access to the tensioner. So you can see there's very limited space to work on. Okay, so that is the tensioner which we need to turn clockwise, right? Yes, clockwise to loosen up the belt, because the up tensioner we have already locked it. This tensioner we can't lock it, right? So I need to use two hands. Okay, so this is the special tool to loosen up the belt, to clamp the damper. So they clamp the spring. You can see that is the special tool.